Hello, buongiorno. My name is Olga. I am an urban planner. I live and work in Greece, in Italy. I would like to thank Incuna very much for this great opportunity because it's an excellent opportunity to inspire and to be inspired from different disciplines, and contaminate ourselves with different ideas. So I am here to talk about on the other side of the coin for industrial heritage, because it's a problem with many points of view, and I would like to show you a very particular case of Italy and all of its problems and points of view from a social and emotional side of view. So I am here to talk about the capannoni of the northeast Italian region and their story, measuring the impact of their abandonment today in quantitative and mainly in qualitative methods, to point out innovative tools for understanding urban phenomena based on literary work and narrations, make an attempt to see the problem through the eyes of the local society and evaluate emotional impact. And of course, we will propose in the end a more holistic approach, which we believe is necessary for eventual new uses. So here we are. These are some satellite photos which I believe are interesting in order to see the diffused, widespread urbanization in our territory, the città diffusa, as we call it. It's a territory with very low density, and which a main characteristic is its industrial diffusion, like we see here. So in gray, we see the urbanization, while in purple, we see the industrial diffusion. There are many, many industrial districts. So, what are the capannonis? From the 70s, mainly, we have the transition from a rural reality to an industrial one. According to the economists, a high degree of specialization, the aggressive export strategies, and the thick network of informal relationships like family and church gave birth to an economic miracle. In the 90s and 2000, the region exported like an entire nation, like Greece, for example. It became one of the wealthiest regions in Europe. Like a local inhabitant said, it was a very simple process. Once a worker got good at doing what he was doing, he would leave the firm and, with the help of relatives, set up his own business, making the very same product as his previous employer, just with a slight variation. And his original employer, who was quite often a relative, would usually guarantee him the share of the market. So the 98% of total firms had less than 15 workers and were family firms, mainly family firms. Capannone was always built in the family lot, together with the house of the family, the villetta. So you had the villetta and the capannoni in the same lot. With a financial crisis, of course, and the relocation of productive processes in eastern countries, a great number of the capannoni has been abandoned or unused. So we see here some of photos of today. Of course, it's a massive impact. Let's try to understand first the problem in numbers and quantitatively. According to a recent census made from my university, and the Confartigianato Imprese Veneto, today there are 92,000 industrial buildings out of 1,200,000 of buildings that are not used, from which mainly 11,000, 10,600 are unused. From these, nearly half of them are not used, from which half of them are not yet in the market. So we can understand the impact in numbers of the problem. So let's see the consequences, environmental point of view. They are a threat for the public health because capannoni were built always by scarce materials and amiantus, so the soil is highly polluted. This makes also the change of the function of the building very difficult because the cost for the restoration is very high for owners, but also for administrations. In the last years, there is an illegal storage of waste inside the capannoni, a surplus of waste production that can no longer be disposed of in waste dumps or incinerators, so it's stored in the capannoni. Spatially, the northeast region is the second region in Italy in soil consumption, almost 10 times over the average of the country. A great surface of this consumption is due to the capannoni. Also, the continuous repetition of the capannoni creates disorder visually, because there are many of them. Financially, capannoni is a building that has no market. Because of the crisis, the real estate is a very weak market, so they remain unsold and deteriorated. The local administration proposed the transfer of the building credits for an eventual demolition, but owners don't have incentives, while this is no solution for the soil consumption. So we can see here inside of them some photos. So our aim was to measure also social and emotional impact. In other words, the feelings created by this urban phenomenon to the local society. We wanted also to illustrate innovative tools for urban research and urban investigation. So our tool was literary work and narration. But why this tool? Through literary work, we explore the possible worlds, different points of view, many hypotheses. So we become more inclusive and democratic in urban planning processes because we can see the local problems through the eyes of local societies. With this tool, we have the chance to cultivate empathy, the necessary ingredient for succeeded urban policies. We can understand the emotional impact on societies of urban issues and consequences of urban change. So we can find out what is socially significant for this local society and the common sense, or else what is important for them. Of course, such tool should always be supported by guided by scientific text and scientific data. Literary work is useful for inspiration, imagination, and as a brainstorming process. So, our research was a colloquium between literary work, narrations, and interviews, scientific texts, and empirical observation. We were interested in narratives in which the territory is not the setting but the protagonist, while the authors chosen are also inhabitants of the space under study. In the narrations, the feelings of the local society for the capannoni are disappointment. Capannoni represented a symbol of a glorious era for the local society and are now gone, an element of the territory which made the local society very proud in an international economic arena. Low confidence. The continuous repetition is like a reminder of failure as a society because the core of this society was its economic system. Depression, low social resilience, the ability of society to tackle difficulties and reinvent itself. Society feeling lost, translating in lost meaning in life. There is a lack of trust and fear of losing its social status and lifestyle. So consider all the above. New uses should be oriented towards reinforcing local identity, citizenship, and community feeling, boost social capital, networks, trust, solidarity, and social capacity weakened through the years. Based on our research, we believe that policies should be oriented versus a culture-led planning development and ideas, as culture and art are not only what the local society needs for building community, but also a great trigger for the economy. Also, good practices should be calibrated to local needs and socioeconomic profile. So we believe that solutions should be based on society's natural talents and tendencies, for example, artisanal activities. as the highly specialized local artisanal activity sustained for centuries an urban economy and a highly qualitative know-how which hardly can be copied by other countries. In other words, ideas should be based on what the local society is good at doing. So, conclusions. Our aim with this research was to point out new tools and methodologies for measuring impact of urban issues, tools that are born from the society itself, and narrations are one of them. Study deeply local societies before proposals, or else our policies will fail to respond to the local needs. To draw the social and emotional profile of a local society in order to find solutions that the local society will grasp and benefit from in the long period. We need to measure emotional cost and assessment. As Landry and Murray says, if our environment does not support common and basic human psychological needs and insights, it can lead to serious personal, social, and therefore economic dysfunction. For new uses, we should search for social utility in order to optimize common good and public benefit. Let's never forget that, as they say, any crisis is an opportunity in disguise. So, thank you.